안녕하세요, 유진이에요. 다들 이상형 많이 물어보시던데 제 이상형은 모두? It's Valentine's Day, I'm 34, and I'm super single. And at one point, I thought I would learn from watching dating shows. And I genuinely thought I was learning something. What not to say, how to flirt, a little tips and tricks. Then one day, I reconnected with a friend who's actually one of the co-producing directors of one of these Korean dating shows. To my surprise, she said, "We don't, but we." So today, I'm going to reverse engineer how these dating shows have evolved over the past 25 years in both the United States and Korea, and show you the hidden formula that's been hooking millions of us, including myself, of course. So grab your popcorn and let's go through some dating show history. Okay, so before we get into the evolution, let's talk about what most people think makes a great dating show. Like hot people, love triangle, drama, abs, background music, lighting, more abs equals good show, right? That's the formula. But after talking to both contestants and producers, the actual formula looks something like this. Chemistry multiplied by controlled environment plus leading questions equals what you see on screen. Wait, think about that for a second. The only variable the participants control is the chemistry they feel. Everything else, the environment, the questions, the timing, the pressure, that's the producer's job. And they've gotten really, really good at it. But they didn't start out that way. So let me walk you through how this evolved. Okay, so I first saw The Bachelor at a dentist office when I was really young. And even then, something about it felt, I don't know, a little off. Like 30 women competing for one man, or vice versa. Roses handed out one by one, public rejections, dates on tropical island with helicopters. But looking back at it now, I now understand what they were doing. The formula is quite simple. Proximity plus competition plus scarcity equals accelerated feeling. Here's how they engineered it. Isolation. You're in a mansion, a house, or an island, completely cut off from the real world. No phones, no internet, and no way to check reality. Then competition. Rose ceremonies where you're literally standing there watching other people get chosen while you don't. Rejections happen in front of everyone. That's brutal. And finally, time scarcity. You get maybe 5 minutes of screen time per episode, and if you're not making any impression, then you're just gone. Korea had dating shows in the early 2000s too, but we took a slightly different approach. It was more variety style show, driven by celebrities, and host-guided matchmaking. It had a more relatable tone than the US fantastic spectacular tropical islands. But both formats had the same problem. If you have 30 people competing for one person, that means 29 people basically don't have a storyline. No character development, which is like inefficient from a production standpoint. The format had to evolve. In the 2010s, it did. So the biggest shift from the early 2000s to a decade later was the focus from one single couple to multiple couples. Shows like Love Island, Bachelor in Paradise, Hatta Signal. Suddenly you had 4 or 5 relationships happening all at the same time. And here's why that's genius from a production standpoint. Multiple storylines mean multiple hooks to keep you watching. Like if you're bored or not really invested in one couple, then you have 4 or 5 different couples to choose from. Let's look at how the US version of the Love Island engineered this. I actually didn't watch this show, so here's what I researched. In Love Island, you have 5 or 6 couples forming simultaneously. Then they introduce these coupling ceremonies where you have to pick someone in front of everyone else. Imagine standing there in front of everyone, choosing someone publicly while your previous partner or date is watching. That's like psychological warfare. Then there are recoupling nights. You literally watch your partner leave you for someone else. And here's the most engineered part. They have a confessional booth where they interview you right after the drama happens, while your emotions are probably at the absolute peak. And I thought to myself, think about what that does. Someone asked me, when you saw him walk in with her, what went through your mind? Of course I'm going to cry. I'm still processing what just happened, but Korea took this era and added something brilliant to shows like Hatta Signal. Anonymous signals. You send text to the person you like, but no one knows who sent what. And then Korean shows also did this, which I think is absolutely brilliant. They added celebrity panels who analyze the participants with us, the viewers. They're literally training us to overanalyze every piece of human behavior, like every glance, every word choice, a laugh, a gesture, or even someone passing water bottles. I admit I was also there trying to decode whether there was actual chemistry between a couple just by looking at the footage. These dating shows turned us into amateur psychologists. I mean, that's kind of insane if you think about it. Anyways, the formula got more refined in this phase of the dating show era. It's not just about chemistry anymore. You need social pressure too. The US added public competition. And in Korea, we peppered in mystery and collective analysis. And this is when I started watching these shows kind of seriously. The early Bachelor era kind of felt a little fake for me. But Hate Signal or 솔로지옥, which is Singles Inferno, those people look like someone I actually know and have crossed paths with actually. Jobs I was familiar with, cute dates, drama that seemed to come from actual behavior. Or so I thought, because in the 2020s, things got even more sophisticated. So the shows in this era started asking a different question. What if we remove one variable and see if that's something that really matters? Like looks, age, past relationships, body image. Let's isolate each one and test it. Very scientific. Well, no, not really, but you know what I mean. Love is Blind is the perfect example. Two people talking through a wall, you can't see each other at all, and the pods are like the ultimate isolation. Small room, no phones, and you're there for an extended period of time. And you have 10 days to either get engaged or leave. The time pressure is cranked to the maximum. Marry someone or go home. Now, this is where my producer friend's confession really come in. She told me we don't script, but we guide with the right questions. So instead of asking who are you interested in, they'll ask something like,
When Sarah mentioned abandonment issues, you seemed really moved. Why is that?
do you see what happened here? The question creates an emotional thread. My producer friend said, and I'm quoting her, we're helping them articulate feelings that they might have not even noticed. And I'm like, but is that really different from creating the feeling in the first place? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Korea also experimented with different variables. For instance, 돌싱글즈, Love After Divorce, 환승연애, My Ex and I, so this is a show that you come out with your ex together. These shows revealed old text messages, past relationship, and so much personal history. There was also a show recently that focused on body image and asked the contestants to lose weight. I think on the first episode, they asked the contestants to send likes based on the AI generated photo of what the person would look like if they had lost XY kilos. And 합숙 맞선, which is Match to Marry, brings the contestants' mothers in the show, which is, okay, that's a lot. They would have each other's moms ask for a date to see their son or daughter. But in Korea, I know that marriage is especially not between two people. It's between two families. My mom told me that on her very first matchmaking date with my dad, the grandmothers were there too. So it actually makes sense. Did you notice the sophistication jump here? Producers now control the environment through isolation. They control the timeline with tight deadlines. And they control the narrative through strategic questions. Every variable is locked down except chemistry, which brings us to the master formula. So here's what I realized what all of these shows were solving for. How fast can they make you feel something in a completely unreal environment? Let me break down the formula again. Isolation. No phones means no reality check. Show becomes your entire world. You're in this shared space with these people 24/7, creating forced intimacy. There is nowhere to escape. Second, time pressure. They film in long blocks like 20-hour blocks. Eliminations and games happen in strategic moments. And there are constant deadlines to either commit or leave. Basically, you're just exhausted and emotional all the time. And third, strategic questions. How did you feel when the person said that? What was going inside your head when she walked in with him? You said this and that happened. They're not scripting your answers. They're scripting your awareness of your own feelings, which is wild. Fourth, the editing layer. Music swells during conversation. In Korea, this is pretty constantly, like all the time. We cut between faces to create moments that might not have been moments in real time, and time confessionals perfectly for maximal emotional impact. Then there are cultural modifications. The US shows tend to lean towards adding public elimination, grand gestures, and competition. And Korean shows, I see more of mystery, trying to guess who is here for the money or who is here for love, who sent what, celebrity analysis panel, slow burns, family involvement, and slower reveals. Both completely engineered. And once I understood this, I had to sit with some uncomfortable realization. About the shows, yes, but also about myself. So I know people who have been on these shows, and I asked them, were your feelings real? And they said, yeah, absolutely real. But naturally occurring, I'm a little doubtful. It's like, imagine not having to work to film the show, focus all your energy in understanding what you're feeling, what your emotions are. There is emotional music there, strategic questions in a hot tub. You're going to feel things. Are those feelings real? Sure. Would they happen in normal life? I'm not really sure. Probably not. And then I had to think about myself. I'm 34, single, and I've been spending a lot of time watching these shows. And I genuinely thought I was gonna be learning something when I watched these shows about, relationship, what not to do, what not to say, or at least psychology. But what was I actually learning? How to fall in love in an engineered environment, which is completely useless in real life. Because real life doesn't have a producing director who will ask you strategic questions. There are no 20 hours of forced proximity, people keeping you awake, no 24/7 drama, no celebrity panel analyzing whether he likes you. Just normal, messy, slow human interaction is real life, which is kind of scary. And here's a trap that I fell into. Korean shows with their panelists, their comments, and me trying to also see if they were right or wrong is making me become a spectator, not a participant. So we become experts at analyzing other people's love lives. But meanwhile, on our own love life, well, I'm making this on a Valentine's because observing feels safer. I'm not going to be rejected by just observing. On a side note, I have friends who are using ChatGPT to write their Hinge messages, and I'm just like, bro, are you even dating? You're outsourcing dating to ChatGPT. And the girl messages back with the same ChatGPT generated M dashes. So like, who's in the relationship here? Anyway, here's the bigger picture. The rise of dating show reflects the fact that we collectively haven't figured out love, even though we really like to talk about it. Like what makes one person fall in love would be completely different from what makes another person fall in love. Falling in love can be beautiful, confusing, and scary all at the same time. Dating shows take love and package it, making it more entertaining. We study it, we can analyze it, and that feels so much safer than the actual messy reality of putting myself out there. It does for me at least. So here's my takeaway. I'll still watch these shows from time to time, but I will watch them differently now. I'm now going to remind myself that I'm watching sophisticated content, which is actually way more interesting because here's what I know for sure. The formula can create feelings. It cannot create love. Only people can do that, and they have to get lucky and work hard to sustain it. I now have a better understanding of why I've been watching instead of doing. I wasn't learning, I was more or less hiding. And maybe that's okay for today, but not forever. And luckily, I have a hot date for Valentine's with my sister. So I'll show you where we're gonna go in London next time. Thank you for watching and come back to my next video topic on...
Let's go! It's time to be the GOAT. It's time to enter God mode, man, let's get it going. I wanna be the greatest, energy is overflowing. I know I'm stoking the fire, my desire's taking over.